Hello and welcome to the Video Game AV Club, where we talk about movies and TV based on video games. I'm Savvy.
I'm Elise.
And we just watched the Until Dawn movie.
Yes, we did.
Just came out. We're back from the theaters.
Small theater, so probably not going to have a long run, but overall, worth it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not Until Dawn.
It's not.
Definitely more heavily inspired by Until Dawn, but it's kind of its own thing. So if you wanted, which is funny because Until Dawn is like a B-movie game.
Yeah.
It's trying to be a
Full
B-movie
actors.
horror thing. And so if any movie could be shot for screen, it would be this one. But there's just too many different alternatives you can take.
Yeah, because of the quick time events and how many people you kill. So in the video game, you are at a cabin. Did we say Wisconsin? Is that...
Well, I mean, that's the joke, because Until Dawn's about wendigos, and that's where wendigos are known to be seen.
I guess so.
In the forests of Wisconsin.
I have never seen a wendigo.
How do you know that I'm not a wendigo? So it's not the same story. I'm assuming it's Wisconsin. I don't know. That's my guess. That's the joke.
No.
It doesn't really say where it is. The mining town of Gore Valley? Something like that?
That's in the movie. I don't know if that was the... There is a mining thing in the game too, because it was...
Yeah, it was a cabin in the snow, which is also why I would think Wisconsin. Yeah. That's my guess. I don't actually know. You can look it up. We got time.
Blackwood Mountain, known as Mount Washington or Mount Madahi. It's supposed to be on the Alberta side of the Canadian Rockies.
It's Canadian!
Oh, Canada.
That's where the wendigos are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is in Canada, but I don't care.
No, it was some like podunk town in the middle of nowhere on the way to... I feel like it's between Georgia and New York.
It's close enough to New York because one of the characters says they're going to move to New York. I mean, not that you can't move to New York from like California, but you know what I mean?
I thought they were like in Georgia before, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, so the premise says a group of friends trapped in a time loop where mysterious foes are chasing and killing them in gruesome ways must survive until dawn to escape it. It was written by Blair Butler and Gary Dauberman. Both have other horror film credits. Dauberman, though, did like the Annabelle, the newer It movies. And then it's directed by David F. Sandberg. We have a smaller cast in the movie.
It's probably a lot less to worry about,
Yeah.
which is nice. Because, I don't know, I felt like there was a pretty big cast in the game.
Yes.
But that's only because they're cannon fodder for you to, like, mess up. You
Yes.
know?
So in the game, it's Until Dawn because it's just one in one night. Technically, it's two because at the beginning you see two sisters and...
You're trying to survive until dawn when the wendigos hate the sun, so they go away. But this one, it's like a game almost.
Yeah.
You have to survive until dawn, and if you don't, then it resets. Which is how they...
Until you become part of the game.
Which is how they kind of are making it gamified so that you can fail QuickTime events and die and do all this other kind of stuff to see all the gruesomeness. Because other than that, it would just be 14s just really killing it and surviving.
But they all die. So in order for it to reset, everyone has to die.
Mm-hmm.
Which becomes
we
annoying.
Think. I'm not 100% sure
yeah,
on
we
that,
have questions and we'll get to those when we go through the different nights. But I laughed quite a few times.
It's really silly.
At first, I found the cast to be annoying, but they grew on me. And I think they did a good job with casting later on. They're,
like, honestly more likable than most of these supermassive game characters.
Yeah, because the
characters I thought would be problematic
yeah.
were actually not that bad at all. Because normally you have the, like, I have a crush on her, so I'm going to be the most insufferable guy in this whole cast.
We have to save her, guys.
And then you have the, like...
The couple.
There's
always a couple.
They're usually, like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, the Corey, that couple was... although they weren't really a couple anymore.
They weren't really a couple anymore.
But that was...
and then you have the final girl.
The main girl who the guy has a crush on. And then you have the random friend.
The random friend. Who, like, is honestly usually MVP.
Yeah.
not connected to
only one
anybody,
that-
doesn't really have that much drama,
But
usually gets overly abused.
she figures it out kind of before.
Yeah.
But yeah, we played the Quarry. We played the Quarry, but we also played Until Dawn
like
a couple of years ago.
time ago.
And the quick time events we suck at. So.
Okay, I hate this. I did so good. We survived. Everyone was alive. It was
Until
like
the last part.
the last part where you had to put the controller
You had to hold
down.
it completely still.
So I was like, I'm gonna put it on the couch. Bad idea, because then I killed my final girl, and then after that, because I decided to put my PlayStation controller on the couch, and I felt bad. You know, these games do a really good job at making you feel like a complete failure, and actually, it feels like I actually have blood on my hands and I murdered somebody because I couldn't press triangle fast enough.
I think we killed more people in the Quarry. And then we've played all of the Dark Anthology games.
Yeah. That's what they're called.
Which are a little kinder to quick time events. Although the professor guy in the Hell House one, I failed that quick time event. And
the thing I have against the Quarry, I know that I'm going off about this, but you have to have played through an entire run first before they give you the chance to redo chapters, which I think Until Dawn, I don't know if they didn't do that, but you could pay money to do that on your first run, and I think that's scummy Supermassive games.
And,
I hate that.
The Quarry, after you beat it, you can like rewind certain events. So if you die, you can be like, oops, sorry.
I think I should have been able to rewind a little bit
Especially
earlier.
if you're playing it in easy mode. I feel like that's an easy mode thing, and if you're playing it in a harder mode, then...
Don't say that. Don't put a paywall behind that.
Yeah. I mean, we like the Dark Anthology games.
They're fun to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're
obviously
pretty short,
some are better
too.
than others. On savvygaming.net, I have a list of... I made a tier list of the ones that I liked the best to the least. So you can go check that out.
The Man in Medan is at the bottom. It's
yeah.
the ghost ship one.
I think it is. Wait, let me get my phone.
Oh,
it's funny to do the Quarry review because we fucked up so bad that I was like, it's hard not to be angry because you're a fuck up.
Well, that was also, they don't give you all the instructions in the Quarry because they don't tell you about the tarot cards until she's like, oh, you didn't find my tarot cards. And we were like, what tarot cards?
We basically have to switch off the controller in like, I just killed this person. I feel like shit.
Oh, yeah,
I feel like I should turn myself into the cops. Here's a controller. I'm going to go cry in the bathroom, and then she'll kill somebody.
Then I'll kill someone.
She'll feel like shit. She'll hide it better than me, though.
I'm like, oops.
And then
So sorry.
But I can see you're upset about it.
Yeah, I'm like,
You're like, I have to go make food in the kitchen.
That I like,
your turn.
That we're playing like as a group, and I fucked something up, so... That's more.
I'm letting the group down.
I'm sad that I murdered someone because, in actuality,
I do also feel like I let the group down. I was like, oh no, Brenda's song is down. That was my fault.
That's the other thing I thought was really interesting in them. So these games have well-known actors in it, and this movie has one well-known actor in it, and it's Dr. Hill, who's actually the voice of Dr. Hill in the video game. So there's a couple of references to the video game in the movie, but they're more like Easter eggs than...
Oh, it was in my Devil in Me Anthology review that I made the list.
I was going to say the Quarry was a different studio. So.
Yeah, it's like same diff.
Yeah.
My favorite, Little Hope. Controversial. I hear people hate that one. But the twist, I was like, well, that's crazy. I'm not going to tell you.
We played like 2 Salem games pretty close to each other. That one definitely was the better one.
Honestly, I'm getting tired of it. Yeah. Stop with your Salem Witch Trials. It's done. It's over. Let it rest. I said good is House of Ashes. That's the Ashley Tisdale one.
That one was weird at the end.
That one had a really... I'm all about the twist. The twist was insane.
That was super weird.
Just okay. I said The Devil in Me. That's the one with the H.H. Holmes.
Yeah.
And I said that one was okay. I wish it was
that
better.
That one could have been better. There was certain things in that was...
The twist was bad.
Because also, I think we both said it should have been 2. There should have been 2 people.
It's bad. And then I obviously didn't like Man of Medan, which is the first one.
I didn't mind. That was...
a lot of people's favorites. I get it. Pirates, ghosts, fun stuff.
If you've seen Ghost Ship, which is another funny horror movie... That's what it reminded me of, and I think I was more thinking about. I hated the way that it ended. It ended so
sad.
Yeah,
And it sucked because, I don't know, it's just a bummer. And I hate stuff where I'm like, this was a bummer to get through, but it's also a bummer the way it ended. Mm-hmm. So that's my hot take.
Is that it? I feel like there was one more.
That's all I have on here. I got this from tierlist.com.
Yeah, well, you ready to spoil Until Dawn?
Yeah, anyway, Until Dawn, which is different.
Yeah, the movie is really different. Honestly, there are some really gross parts.
It's real nasty. It's real gory. Yeah. I had to close my eyes during one scene.
I had a couple for me. I can't do it.
I was like, I'm going to go
but then we also
into my popcorn.
20 minutes of previews, and there's some movies that are coming out that are uncomfortable, scary, like horror films, where he like pulls the string out of his surfer. Gums. Yeah, weird Nicolas Cage.
When everyone thriller. In Australia hates you and won't let you surf, that really sucks.
No, it's not that. It's you have to be a local.
When everyone in Australia hates you because you're not Australian.
Don't live here, can't surf here.
Anyway.
Can't surf here.
It's not about Nicolas Cage. Although if he was in an Until Dawn game, that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, that would be funny. But yeah, there's the other one where the things are merging together with Franco and his wife Brie.
Yeah, that's gross. Let's not talk about that.
So I was already uncomfortable before the movie started because there's these uncomfortable previews.
It's a horror movie, so it's going to be... I knew it was going to be gory. Because Until Dawn's kind of gory. Yeah. Especially if you fuck up. Mm-hmm. It's really nice if you don't fuck up. If you do, it's upsetting. Yeah, we're going to spoil the movie now.
But we still suggest... honestly, it's worth seeing it in theaters.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah. I would wait until it comes out on, like...
Oh, because it's like it's $15 to go see
I just don't think the theaters are worth it. You know me. Yeah. You know me. True. I don't care. Get a big thing of popcorn yourself. Yeah. Pee whenever you want. It's the dream.
It was like so we saw like 20 minutes of previews, and then the movie itself was like 104 minutes. There's nothing at the end besides the missing posters that are in there is actually...
They do have kind of a thing at the end, but it's like right before the credits, so it's not really, you don't have to wait.
No. And the missing posters are the crew. Cast and crew. So we don't remember a lot of what happens Until Dawn.
It's been a while. I do remember I guess spoilers for Until Dawn because
it's been out long enough.
Yeah, and it's been remastered and it's on everything.
Which, okay, so when the Until Dawn thing came out a couple of months ago, the studio, it's like the Until Dawn studio closes, and I was like, well, that sucks because the movie's coming out. But apparently, it's just the studio that did the remake and not the actual studio that made the game.
It's still shitty, yeah.
But that's harsh.
That's mean. Yeah, I think they did this remake so that you could play it before the movie came out, and they gave you like a year, I think, right, last year.
Yeah, 2024.
So what I remember about Until Dawn is that a bunch of friends, mainly Rami Malek.
Rami Malek and
he invited a bunch of his friends to his cabin up in the snow to like go skiing or whatever. And the first half of the game is him doing like a Saw type thing because one of the girls' sisters, they all went up there some winter to go skiing, and like they were making fun of her.
They're so rude to her.
And so she ran off into the woods and ended up dying. Mm-hmm. And so he's going to torture them because he's mad. I don't know if they were dating or if he just liked her. And also the sister's obviously dealing with it because she's like, my sister died up here a while ago. They found her dead in the woods. So yeah, he's doing like a torture thing to all of these people.
Hannah and Beth Washington were close twin sisters.
And then the second half is... Oh, there's wendigos in the woods. Wendigos. And that's how she died.
And there's a weird guy with a flamethrower.
Yeah, which we think he's hunting the wendigos? I'm not 100% on that. I don't remember. Yeah.
But it's also, if you don't snoop around and find all the information, you don't really know.
You don't know anything about the wendigos specifically.
Because there's the mining papers and there's like the sister's journal that you have to find, and then that gives you background information. But we did not know to find those things, and
I was just looking for the shiny things that would give me hints on who was gonna die next.
The quick action.
Those are cool.
I
like those because it's usually like someone you're not playing as, and you don't know what chapter it's gonna be. So yeah, the first half is like a Saw thing with Rami Malek, and then the second half is Wendigos, and so this one was just the supernatural Wendigos like the whole time.
It was started with the you see this girl crawling in a tunnel.
I was waiting for one. Oh yeah, it starts the same way as the game starts, where it's the sister getting killed, basically.
Well, the sister like ran out in a snowstorm, right, and then like fell, and then she. Yeah. And then there's something behind her, next to her.
Yeah, and you think it might be the guy with the flamethrower later, but it's like it's the Wendigos.
So she's getting chased by something, and she
in the movie.
Yeah, in the movie, sorry. And she kicks it. You can kind of see it behind it. It looks like the Wendigo. So if you've played the game, you're kind of expecting it. And then this weird, like, I push my hand through the dirt, which she's definitely digging the ground, trying to escape while there's someone right behind her. I'm like, girl, you're not going anywhere.
You're not going to make it.
And she pushes her hand through and pulls herself out, and she falls on the ground, and then... there's a
big guy with a mining pickaxe and a clown mask who goes and she's like,
I don't want to die
again. Ugh, it's you.
Yeah. Please, I don't want to.
And then he stabs her. Yeah. And then that's how we open.
That is the opening.
And then it does the thing that it does also in the game where it's the logo for Until Dawn, which is the hourglass and the skull. And then it zooms in on the hourglass and it's them driving the car down the hourglass, which is cool. Then we meet our main cast as they're in the car, not talking to each other.
Well, the main girl, whose name is Clover, she is sleeping in the back. And then you have this boy who's constantly like staring at her. And his name is Max. And they used to date. Sitting next to Max is Megan, and she's like braiding something. And then in the front seat, you have...
she was knitting.
Oh, was she knitting?
I think she was knitting.
Oh. In the front seat, you have Nina and Abe, and they are the couple, and Abe is driving because it's his car.
New couple. Really feel bad for Abe in this situation because we have a ride or die group of friends. Two of them are dating or have dated, which is really awkward.
It's a group of friends.
And then you have...
the spiritual woo-woo girl.
Spiritual woo-woo. You got your quirky girl who's with no one.
And they're on a road trip. And then we come to find out they're on a road trip to trace the last steps of the girl, Clover's sister, who is the girl in the tunnel.
Yeah, who's gone missing.
And she sent her a bunch of videos of her, like,
she sent her little Snapchats. At this really cute gas station.
Yeah, that's a gas station you don't stop to pee at, that's for sure.
So they also stop at the gas station. I think was it the last stop?
It was the last stop,
yeah.
Because she shows the video to all them, and it's been a year. And Megan is like, should we hold hands?
We've done it at every other place. It would feel wrong not to do it now. Because honestly, everyone's fighting right now. You have the new boyfriend being like, I thought this was like a fun group activity. I didn't know we were retracing the steps of your dead sister.
Yeah. That happens when Clover goes in, so he doesn't say it in front of the girl, but... They do this like prayer circle thing, and she's like, we all have to hold hands, and then she's like directing her hand with try to figure out what direction the sister went at. So she's definitely not holding hands, not closing the circle. And then they get honked at because they're in the middle of the road. And so Clover goes inside to get the biggest cup of coffee I think I've ever seen in my life, besides the Starbucks.
Got a grande at the gas station, and she goes to check out, and she asks about, have you seen this girl?
It's like, oh, did you work here last year? And he's like, I worked here last year. I worked here the year before. The year before that, he's a whistler too. And
it's the same yet different. And she's like, yeah.
And it's that guy has been in so many things. He's super quirky. He's so strange, but yeah, he's a good actor though. Do you think they chose him because he looks like a little like Anthology guy?
Well, isn't he the actual guy
He's Dr. Hill.
Yeah, in the games.
Yeah, he was.
He's the only one who came back from the games. But I mean, Dr. Hill was kind of a small character in the game, right? He was just audio logs and stuff. So now he gets to show his face.
Yep.
Oh my god, maybe this is a prequel actually.
Maybe.
Anyway, so.
And this is where
he says that he did see her.
Yeah.
And that
a lot of people go missing.
A lot of people go missing around here, not around here, but around
a little bit
Is
north.
it like, what's it called again? I said it at the
You
beginning
did.
of this.
It was like Grove.
It was something nasty. It was like Gore Gulch or something.
Glore Valley.
Glore.
Glore Valley.
It's not Gore. It's Galore.
Glore.
Glore Valley. People go missing there. So she's like, I gotta go to Glore Valley. And then she leaves her coffee.
Yeah.
But I like to think she chugged it because she comes out real fast.
Yeah, she does.
She's like, God, you got it.
Well, this is also, while she's in the gas station, this is where Abe is like, as a psych major.
Maybe it was good that she didn't drink the coffee. Might have exploded.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not that water. So, yeah, Abe is like, as a psych major. And this is also where you find out that his girlfriend dates someone every 3 months. And guess what? Guess how long they've dated?
3 months.
3 months. And the joke that it was a guy that looked like him. And then before that, it was a girl. And I mean, he took it like a champ. But then
he did take it like a champ.
They also gave Max a hard time to be like, why are you here?
Yeah. And then they were like, she dumped you. And he's like, no, I dumped her, actually. And then it was kind of like she was too emotionally unavailable for him or something.
Because her mom died. And then her sister disappeared like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And then we find out later, that she tried to kill herself twice.
Yeah, she's going through it.
And
so, because they were talking about, like, is this healthy to do this?
Yeah.
And
Megan's like, it's closure.
I mean, the new guy, the psych major over here, was like, I don't think that's healthy. And everyone else is like, it is. We do things together.
Yes, we go through things together.
I forget his name.
Abe. Because when she was, but like later on, she says, I thought she was saying babe. Because I forgot what his name was.
I thought she was saying babe, too.
And she probably was. But then his name's Abe, so.
Abe.
I was like, oh, that's what his name is.
So they're all fighting, and she comes in, and she's like, we gotta go here.
Yeah.
And then they go drive in the rain. Like heavy
rain. It's like heavy rain. And she's like, just turn around. And Abe's like, I've turned around twice. I'm just driving. She's
like so ready to turn back. Yeah. She's like, this is too much rain.
This is a bad idea. You
keep turning around. And so eventually the rain just stops in front of this visitor center.
Yeah. It's like the eye of the storm, which they talk about. They're like, oh, because Abe takes his phone out and he's recording. He's like, oh, this is a anomaly. I can't remember what it's called,
but I know there's a name for this. Funny. Because that's so true. How many times have you been like, there's a name for this? I know about that, but I don't know what the name is.
And then he's like, it's a water wall. Like the song. I'm like Wonderwall?
Yeah, that was the joke.
It's like, no, they're literally in like an eye of the storm.
That's what they're singing about.
Mm-hmm. 2 men in love. Oh, that's what
Today is gonna be the day that I'm gonna go get
murdered. That's what song should have been at the end.
By now,
you should have somehow realized
that you're gonna get murdered.
I don't believe that anybody
could get murdered the way you do right now.
That song should have been at the end. There was some like other like.
It was weird. We'll talk about that when we get to the end. But yeah, so they're at this visitor center. It's not raining there anymore.
No one else is parked there. They pull up.
I honestly,
it's the only building
once
around.
You see that, I was like, that is your sign to turn around.
Unless someone's parked in the back.
That's a weird, that's too much of a weird phenomenon for me. I would leave. I'm not about to get water walled.
But he's like, no, I'm not driving through there. Or you just sit there and wait until the rain stops.
So they go into the visitor center and it's old. Nobody's been here since 1984.
No, it was October 24th. It wasn't 84. It was like 89, 88, something like that. There's a calendar. So I was like, it's my birthday. Almost. But I was already born, so it wasn't 84.
We're in the visitor center. It's been a while.
Clover stayed outside, and Max, who's her ex-boyfriend, stayed outside. She is like walking into the water wall.
She can see something in the distance that kind of looks like her sister.
Mm-hmm.
So she walks into the water wall and is like, is that you? Which is crazy.
She said it called her name, but also...
I think it just made a noise.
Yeah.
Maybe. So she's in the water wall. Max is going after her.
He doesn't even go in the water because he doesn't have a hood like she does.
Her tiny ass hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that hoodie. Which is funny. It's funny to see people in like shows and stuff that have the same clothes as you. I was watching a thing once and I was wearing the same sweater as this girl and I was like, oh no.
Change. We can't both be wearing the same thing.
No, well, on TV I have to change shows.
We have Abe wanders into the back room. Megan is not feeling well, so she goes to the bathroom.
To try to get the water to work.
Yeah, the water does not work. Also, the mirror is all gross and she has to wipe it off to see herself. What's the other lady's name?
I don't know any of these people's names.
What was her name?
I remember
Nina. Nina is looking at the desk that has the visitors, the guest book, and it's on a blank page. And so, of course, she writes her name before looking at the previous pages.
Yeah.
Like an idiot. And then we have Abe again in the back room, and it's like an office, and it has a board. And so he turns around and he sees all of these like advertisements
that he pulls off to reveal like a bunch of missing posters.
But it just says missing in the person's picture.
It doesn't have any information.
It up later that it doesn't have the normal information. No height, no weight, no like date of birth, date of missing.
Because two people see a weird thing, and it's the names scribbled in the book.
Yeah.
That have been written 13 times, and the more that is written, the like shakier the hand gets. Yeah. And then also all of the missing posters. So they go and check those two things out. Meanwhile, Clover and Max is pulling Clover out.
Yeah, he pulls her out and she's like, I thought I saw my sister.
But this is all because they see a weird the image from the game. What are those things called? Time dials? Timekeepers? This thing's with the sand in them. Yeah.
That's on the wall. That's what Nina sees. And then Max brings Clover. He's like, let's go inside. And
because it starts to turn. And that's when it's like when everybody started to do what they were doing.
Yeah.
Write in the name, type. I think it's mainly when they write the name.
When she wrote the name on the.
She did it.
Nina,
this is her fault. Yeah.
Max. Abe brings them to the back to show them all the pictures, and of course, the sister's picture is on there.
Mm-hmm.
Then Nina's like, "Look at the log," and then they turn the page. And that was before because it was her and Megan when they noticed the sisters, and then they go back to the back room.
Well, they bring Clover to see her sister's name written.
Yeah,
because she starts crying.
Yeah, they're in the back room, and then
dripping.
When they come in, they left the page open of the sister's name, and Clover saw it when she comes in. Yeah. She's like,
she's soaking wet, so I guess she might have been just dripping. I thought she might have been crying. But and then Nina is like, did anyone flip the hourglass? Because it wasn't like that before. And everyone's like, no, I don't care. Actually, no one cares.
The lights go off. Oh, the car's gone.
The car they hear it like rev up like somebody's stealing their car, and then it just goes beyond the water wall and just
it's facing them with the lights.
It faces them and it revs up when they go approach it, and they're like, someone's just punking us.
So they're inside looking at the car, and the other people start to explore.
Yeah.
And there's a basement, so of course they go down it.
So it's like Megan, Clover, and Max go into the basement, and they notice
like a fully furnished.
It's like
house.
A whole other museum downstairs, and they have windows to the outside. And he's like, "Why is there windows to the outside? It's underground. That's super weird." And then meanwhile, we have the Nina and Abe watching the car, and they hear a big old thump, thump, thump in the night. So Abe's like, "I'll go check it out. It might be them." So he goes, and then we hear an even bigger thump.
Yeah, and then the light in the hallway goes out, and she's like, "Babe or Abe
or Abe," and she goes and sees.
But also, they have phones. Use your light. My light would be on the whole time.
I'm surprised they use actual flashlights that they found around.
Which
I guess they don't want to waste their battery. I don't know. In case they get reception, they don't.
But she doesn't use either at this point. So she just walks into the hallway and it's super dark. And then she goes into that back room where all of the
missing posters
are. And she reaches around to turn on the light. And there's of course blood on the wall. And when she turns on the light, there's the creepy clown guy,
it's a giant clown man, and he looks directly at her, and he like stabbed him in half.
Yeah. So the axe is in Abe against the wall, and then when he takes it off, Abe
splits
separates
in half.
into two.
So starting off strong.
And then it comes after her.
Mhm.
The people in the basement hear the thud,
The thump
and
thump.
I think her like scream.
Yeah.
And so
They
Megan, no, Max goes up.
No, they hide. Remember?
Not yet until Max goes up.
Oh, and then he sees her corpse on the
ground
with the guy standing there,
Mhm.
and then he comes back down and is like hide.
Yeah, and so they go behind two doors, Max and
This is a
Clover.
bad hiding spot.
Yeah.
But
And then Megan is in like a closet where she can see everything.
Mhm.
And the guy comes down and he's looking around. And so Max decides he's going to be brave and pick up an entire chair to hit this gigantic man with.
It's funny because like near the end of the movie, that actually works.
Yeah.
But right now, it's day one and he's strong. So he hits him with a chair and then like
I'm assuming he is. There is a character mentioned on IMDb as Psycho, and that is Tibor Sazervain.
Cool.
Sounds like a giant man, Tibor.
So they hit him with a chair.
Stunts.
He doesn't even flinch. He turns around. He takes like, well, actually, was it Max? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Max finds like a sharp part of the chair that got busted and goes to like stab him, but then the guy just ends up stabbing him with it in the eyeball,
and then he takes it out, and the eyeball is still attached.
Slurp.
And so Megan sees everything that happens, and she's making a little bit of noise in the closet.
Yeah, she's whimpering. She's like, "Oh my god!"
But this is the part that sucks: is that the guy comes to the closet and he punches through the closet to grab her, and her friend Clover,
while he was walking towards the closet, because he could definitely tell Megan's in there. She found like a knife and a cup, and she was like, "I'm gonna take this knife
and hide behind the door."
So she makes a little bit of noise, and that guy's like, "Oh!" And then she gets the knife successfully, but then he throws Megan out of the closet,
and then he beats her face on the ground while her friend Clover is just standing there. And Clover can see her.
She does. She was just waiting for her time to stab him.
Yeah.
And
she does stab him.
She does stab him. She just took a lot longer.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she was just waiting for like a perfect opportunity. Not that the guy couldn't see her anyway. If freaking Megan could see her, then. So she stabs him, and he keeps the knife in.
Yeah, and then she runs and then
sees all the corpses.
Yeah.
Because she runs to go up the stairs and sees. She ends up getting. No, she goes outside. She runs away and goes outside, and then she gets pickaxed to death outside. Yeah. And they all wake up.
And then she's in the rain again. And she sees Max, who now has a black eye.
Yeah, so it seemed like they were going to do like whatever injury you got from dying the previous night was going to show up.
Because then Megan is in the bathroom again, and she wipes the mirror, and you see her face
got, like, a messed up face.
Weird. And
everybody who comes back where they got stabbed, they're like, "Oh my god!"
A mark,
yeah. So, but then they just ignored
that. Was only for the first night.
That was only for the first night. Kind of a bummer.
That was a bummer. Also, it says later that they forget, but you could definitely tell.
But they
remembered the first night, because Megan gives the Clover the biggest side eye of like, girl.
I mean, maybe they like remember the first one, but then they forget because like repeated traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe as you're slowly turning into a wendigo.
Then there are wendigos in
them woods.
Yeah.
But we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
We just know that we're doing the thing that movie did.
Which they bring up.
Repeating the day over and over
again. So they come back into the office and they see... Cause
I actually liked some of the lines in there.
Yeah, it was funny.
It felt like some shit you would say with your friends. Yeah. There's a lot of movies that do that.
So when it resets, the girl writes her name in the book. Clover's in the rain. Abe. Max pulls her back. Megan's in the bathroom wiping. Abe is in that back office where the wanted posters are. And so he calls them all back because now their posters are on there.
Yeah.
So he's like, we're fucked.
We're part of it now.
That's where you get the conversation of oh, it's a time loop, like all those movies, and then.
So their plan for night 2.
The car was there.
The car was there, but so this time Megan gets
the one
possessed.
The door just keeps open.
Megan gets possessed. Oh, yeah. She's a psychic.
She doesn't look good.
She doesn't look good. I thought she was turning into a wendigo, and I was like, oh, we're starting off early. But no, she gets possessed.
She does a weird, like, neck thing, and, like...
all the lights go out after she does her little, like, I'm possessed thing, and then they hear her talking, and she's in front of the missing people board, and she's the voice of the missing people.
Yeah, and as she points to each poster, it's like they each say something, and some of them are, like, tiny kids, which is sad. He's like, I want my mom!
Yeah. So
and then it's just like, just kill us. I don't want to die again.
I want to die for real. Yeah. A lot of the men.
Something about the minor thing. Yeah.
We're cursed. We're sinners.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't know what to do about this, and she snaps her own neck and then passes out.
And they're like, don't touch her. You could get possessed.
Like, that's not how possession works. It's something about lack of faith.
They talk about the Bible.
And then Abe's like, I have a lot of faith.
I have all the faith. Because him and his girlfriend, and
they're in a
corner. In the door all the way.
They're like, I don't want to deal.
Hallway.
But Clover and Max are... And then they hear, like, another thud or something.
It's the door that keeps opening and closing.
Yeah.
So Abe goes to lock it. And then he turns back around, and Max
opening.
is like, and then it just keeps opening and closing. So
they like barricade it with one of those things that you like with the ropes.
Yeah.
And then they hear, what's her sister's name? They hear her sister's voice. Doesn't matter what her sister's name is. Clover hears her sister's voice.
Melanie.
Screaming from the other side. And this is the only time that we get the Wendigo voice thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, which sucks, because that's like the coolest part of a Wendigo.
But they also look outside and they can't see anything.
Yeah.
And so
they hear her like, Olivia, ooh, and then she sound of her getting stabbed.
Yeah.
So then she opens the door, Clover, obviously, because everyone's like, don't open that door.
Don't do it. Don't do it. She's like, fuck you. That's my sister.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So she opens the door, and there's nothing there but a house. And they didn't see the house across the way before. And it's this old, decrepit house, and it's like, beware of the witch.
It says, fuck Glover Valley.
I thought it said, like, fuck the witch or something.
It was Glover Valley.
And so this old, decrepit house across the way, and they're like, should we check it out? And everyone's like, no. We should just hang out here. And then Clover gets thrown, like, a bunch of feet in the air.
Yeah, off of the balcony onto the ground, and Max is like, no, we gotta go save her.
And then somebody pushes him back. Yeah. Some invisible magical force pushes him back, locks the door.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they just want Clover.
Yeah.
And then some also invisible force drags
Clover her towards the door.
Into the house. And throws her in and locks the door, and then they unlock the door. The invisible force unlocks the door to her friends, and Max is like, I'm going after her, and he has a fight with Abe, who's like, we need to just get in the car and get help and leave.
Yeah.
We don't know how to deal with supernatural forces.
And then his girlfriend has the weirdest, like, conflict of interest, because she's like, these are my friends. I can't just leave them
to die.
He's like, we have to try to go get help. They're not like, we have to go get help. We have to try to get help. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, he is not helping these people.
He know them for 3 months. He's not ride or die with these bitches. So,
he eventually convinces her.
Because he's, being mean to Max and being like, you are not going to get her back. Mm-hmm. So why would you even bother to go after her?
Yeah, that was a weird. And then she's like, I can say that.
I can say that because they know I don't mean it. And I was like, you sound like a nightmare. Nina sounds like a freaking nightmare of a friend.
Because Abe says it afterwards. She's like, why'd you say that? He's like, because it sounded like something you would have said. And she's like, well, they know that I don't mean it. And it's like,
what?
Weird.
So you bully your friends for fun?
You say things you don't mean just to hurt their feelings.
This is an anti-friend movie. I 100% agree with Abe. Plus, he doesn't know them.
No.
So, like, him being like, but he's so dedicated to his girlfriend that he won't leave without her. I thought for sure he would be like, fuck it, I'm getting in the car.
Well, then I'll go get help. You stay here. I'll be back.
But he's like, no, he basically picks her up and takes her in the car because he's like, whoa, we just sit around and die? Like, you have to come with me into the car.
Well, that was the weird thing. So we have that whole conversation, and then we go back to this decrepit house where she wakes up in the house
Yeah.
Clover does. And there's all of these creepy ass masks.
More clown masks.
And the house is gross. It's like covered in dust and stuff, but there's these weird mannequin things, like shoulder mannequins,
yeah,
that have these creepy masks on. And then there's this old lady watching the news.
And the news is like, the mine has exploded.
Yeah. And she's on oxygen, and Clover's like, hello.
Yeah, hello there.
And she doesn't respond, and so she's like,
she's moving.
Yeah,
so I think she checked to see if it was dead, and then she saw her finger move, and she's like, hello. And then she's like, okay, fuck this old lady. I'm going to the front door.
Yeah, and the door is not opening. And then the old lady starts to turn.
Old lady's mad that she tried to open the door.
Yeah.
So and
the old lady tells her, like, you have to survive the night or become it.
Gives her the hot tip. Because Clover's our final girl. Everyone's all after Clover's ass in this one for some reason.
I thought it was because of her sister, but come to find out, nope.
No, I don't know why.
She's the strongest of the personalities.
Maybe. I think because...
It reminded me a little bit of Identity, which is a movie with... it came out, I think, in the 90s, but it's another horror movie, but that has to do with he's, like, schizophrenic, and he's killing all of his personalities.
Bless you.
So I thought maybe we're going to have something like that, but... no, it's totally weird.
I think maybe they just assumed she'd come after her sister, so maybe they were like waiting. I don't know. But
they're not twins, right?
No, they don't look like twins.
Yeah.
They actually look very different.
One had a tan.
Similar hair color, that's about it.
They had gorgeous hair, both of them.
Beautiful.
I was very envious.
But different hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, the old lady, like, straddles her and chokes her out.
Knocks her on the ground and then puts her oxygen mask on her.
And turns her evil because she's basically like, you survive the night or you become it.
Yeah.
And then it makes her eyeballs go black and she's evil.
And then the old lady, like...
disintegrates, turns to dust. Strange.
Yeah, and then she gets that weird black eye with the, like, veins coming out of it kind of thing.
Yeah, super nasty.
And then she smiles creepily.
Let's go back to our car group.
So, Max goes outside. The door opens. So he's able to go in. He's like, Clover? And then in the background, you see the couple run for the car.
You see the couple run for the car. They're booking it. They get in the car, and then they start driving.
Nina's like, I can't leave my friends. It's like, you got in the car, girl.
So he locked her in, and then they drove through the wall, but then they see this giant, like, fire golem.
I thought it wasn't fire. I thought it was just...
Well, it was fire at the end.
Oh, okay.
So I just assumed. But it is a giant, like, moving golem, and they're like, the fuck is that?
Giant.
It's huge, and it's so weird.
And so they turn around.
That would be so strange in one of these games if I was just like, nope, and then I turn around and there's a giant golem that just steps on your car. Like, that's, what is going on? So, and he turns around because he doesn't want to deal with the golem. Yeah. I would rather deal with the golem.
Yeah, drive under its feet.
I'd rather it crush me to death than what's going to happen next. Yeah. Because he drives back. And then...
he gets killed by the clown guy.
They're like, oh, we should reassess the giant golem. And then he unlocks his side, but not her side. And he's about to get out of the car when he gets killed by the clown guy. Yeah. And then the clown guy comes around to her side and I guess murders her too. But we don't see that. Anyway, back to Max, who's in the creepy house.
He steps on the disintegrated old lady.
He's like, the fuck is this?
It's like, this is weird. And then he hears a noise from upstairs, so he walks up the stairs. And he has a flashlight. Yeah. He goes up into this, like, creepy nursery room.
Oh my gosh, they had doll heads as the lights.
As the light. Yeah.
That's so clever. What a fun, quirky room.
Those the lampshades were doll heads.
So childhood wonder is romanticized in a horror way yet again because dolls are creepy, clowns are creepy, nurseries are creepy. We hate children's items.
Yeah. There's a rocking chair that's moving on its own, and of course he stops it with his foot.
I love that. And then like stop moving. Stop. It's a cool rocking chair, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, just let it rock. Who's gonna care?
Rocking chair. But he's like just standing in the room, like there's nothing here. But
there's like a bed. It's a giant room. There's like 2 beds, a crib.
He turns around after stopping the ghost crib, and then he looks back because he hears creaking again, and the rocking chair is going, but there's a clown doll in it now. Yeah. So then
he picks it up by its head and drop kicks it. It's like fucking clowns.
And then he turns around and he sees Clover in a mask.
That was a cool mask.
Yeah,
I like that mask.
That's my least favorite of the masks.
Oh, yeah?
Different opinions.
The weird like eye thing, I liked it.
So she's wearing the mask and she just like straight up stabs him in the throat and kills him.
So and then, like turns around and like skips out
so fast. It was like Clover. And then she walks out of the house, skips out of the house, I guess, and then gets hit by the car, which is being driven by
the clown guy. It breaks her mask. She falls on the ground.
And she's smiling.
Yep.
She loved it. Good time.
Night 3?
Clown guy is putting in the hours, actually. Hope he gets overtime for this. Night 3 is they all wake up.
And they're sitting in the bathroom together. And they're talking about they
barricaded the doors. Their new plan is to just stay put because she learned from the old lady that they just have to wait until dawn.
So Nina's in the bathtub. Abe is sitting like on the rim of the bathtub. Megan is sitting on the toilet, and then
the other two are against the door. And Abe tries to get water out of the sink, and Megan's like, it doesn't work, but it did work, and it like ran the like gross poopy brown and then the red.
Wasn't there like a water tower in the back when they came? So that like every night something else is added to the village.
Yeah.
And so the water tower was on the outside, and then they zoomed into the house and you saw the barricade.
Had a window, which is I was like, that for sure. You guys gotta do something about that window. Yeah. But whatever. That's not the problem. The problem is he's like, oh, I'm so thirsty. I need to drink this water.
Does anyone else want water? And everyone raises his hand, and he just gives the cup to his girlfriend. And I was like, you're just not gonna help anyone else to water?
There's only one cup. She's gotta.
And so they pass.
She loves her friends more than he does.
Yeah.
She's gonna pass, sip and pass.
And then he starts they're having like a conversation about the witch, and he's like, are you sure it's a witch? She's like, I don't know. Like, because they're starting to forget what they went through the night before. Because obviously, because Max was killed by her, and he's like,
it doesn't seem like he remembers.
He does not remember.
He's like, I guess I died in that house.
Then Abe starts coughing, and like in his hand, it's gross.
It's like teeth.
Yeah, and so he wipes it on the bath curtain. I could not stop laughing.
Don't let anyone know.
Don't let anyone know.
This is also Megan starts to notice that her hair is falling out.
Took like a chunk.
She took a big old chunk of her hair out.
Her scalp came off.
And she brings that up in the bathroom meeting because it looks like
she pulls another chunk out, and she's just
Max is having long, delightful fingernails.
Oh, that was gross. I was like, what? That's why I was like, is he going to be a Wendigo? Because have the nails.
He's got the long nails. I'd rather have the long nails than the hair pulling out, though.
Because she just pulls out another chunk of hair, and
she just
like,
keeps nervously pulling out hair chunks. So yeah, he's coughing up blood, and he's trying to hide it, but obviously it's getting worse. And then
he backs up, and
he keeps coughing, and then he just explodes.
He fully explodes, and everyone's like, "What the?"
And his girlfriend is like, "It's in my mouth. He's in my mouth."
And so she gets more water, and they're like, "No, don't drink the water.
It's definitely the water." And then she's like, "What?" And then she explodes.
And then so they run out of the bathroom, and this is where Megan got the shit into the stick like every freaking time.
I don't know how the fuck this exploding thing works. I don't know the timing of it.
No.
They don't know, because those two happened pretty fast.
Yeah.
But everyone else is just waiting for themselves to explode. Megan's leg explodes.
Yeah.
First. And so she's
then they're like, we don't know how to help her. I was like, you could have tourniqueted her. Like,
I guess so.
Where's your belt?
Then her belly started to grow and then explode, and now...
And then she's still alive and, like, dragging towards them, and they're like, we don't know how to help you. And then so she dies, and then
her head
Clover turns to Max and is like, just kill me. Mm-hmm. He's like, what?
His plan was to choke her out, which I was like,
well, she puts his hands on her, and he's like, I can't do
that. I just do this.
He's like, I can't do it. I'm so sorry. And he takes a step back and explodes.
And so she lies down on the ground, and it's just like, all right.
Here it comes. And then
and then the clown guy shows up.
It's not the clown guy. It's the doctor.
Oh, it's the doctor. That's right.
So it's the guy from the gas station that she talked to. And he walks around everyone, and he says...
What did he say? What's his hot
He's
tip?
like, you thought you could just stand still.
You can't sit around.
Yeah.
You gotta do something else, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's like,
so,
what? And then she explodes.
Yeah.
So now...
Night 4?
Night 4 is where my brain starts to get fuzzy. Because this is
they're in the basement, and he said...
They're creating a game plan.
Yeah, she's like, we have to do something. There has to be more to this. So they're looking at all these like folders and stuff because there's a desk down there. There's a radio down there too.
They're trying to talk to people on the radio. They're looking through all of the documents and stuff.
Max finds a evidence bag with 2 videotapes. So he's like, let's look at this. And the first one's a porno. Mm-hmm. And Abe makes a joke. He's like, let's try this one. He's like, whoa, do you want us to leave you alone?
The second one was like, I don't know why he would record this.
Yeah, it was his experiments. Mm. So he's in a hospital setting, and you see 2 guys behind in like a padded room with an observation window, and one guy's dead on the ground, and the other guy definitely.
Like, why do you keep killing us over and over again? Yeah. I don't get it. I don't understand. And he's like, this is how I make wendigos, because he just kind of kills people over and over again until they become so hungry that they become wendigos and they eat the other prisoner.
Well, that's the whole thing with the whole they're just mythology with wendigos is it comes from
that eat
cannibalism. So you don't become a wendigo until you eat someone.
Yeah,
which is what happened in the game. The miners get trapped and they eat each other, which is how they became wendigos. Mm-hmm. And then the sister got trapped and she fed off the flesh of it, and so that's why she becomes a wendigo in the game. And
so he is just creating wendigos by creating people being hungry.
But he's also just doing scientific experiments on how long it takes them to turn.
He's a doctor, is what we find out.
And he's got all of these like identification. They find more information of the fact that the like 20 years ago or something like that, they dug too deep, which collapsed the town, and Dr. Hill was brought to help the survivors. Mm-hmm. But he worked at the sanitarium that was there before.
Yes.
Which was weird. And then we hear him on the radio.
Yeah, he's like,
on the radio.
I don't know. He basically said,
he's like listening.
I just want Clover. Actually,
he's like, well, one of you,
because they found a map. Yeah. The psychic lady's like, he's somewhere around here. But then they pull out a map, and he's at the sanitarium, like right next door.
Yeah.
So Clover's like, I'll finish this. He basically says that one of you has to die in order for the rest of you to survive.
And no one's willing to sacrifice themselves. But Megan, she's like growing teeth. That was the other thing I laughed at, because she was like, does anyone else have extra teeth? And then Nina's like, she has her fingers in her mouth. Like, how many teeth are you supposed to have? Abe's like, I don't know. I know it's an even number. I'm like, so people can have different number of teeth. It depends on how... Like, there's also doors, and that's what they discovered, that the town sunk. So they're in the first floor of the house, which is why there's windows down there. Yeah. And Nina opens the front door, and you hear
just screaming. It's like a tunnel.
Yeah.
And a bunch of screaming of like wendigo noises.
She's like,
and she's like, yeah, not dealing with that.
Not doing that.
So yeah, they get a call from Dr. Hill in the sanitarium, and Clover's basically like, I'll meet you there.
Yeah, she's like, meet me in person.
Like, I want to, because she's like, I'll let you see your sister if you come and meet the sanitarium.
I'm in the forest. She's like,
okay, cool. I'll go do that. And obviously,
Abe's like, no, don't
Abe's
do it.
like, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Abe's like, yeah, let her do it, whatever. She wants to see your sister, right? And everyone's like, how fucking dare you? She's actually gonna do it. He's like, I didn't think she would do it.
Yeah. It's like, well, this is why we're here, right? And
so she runs off, and they're all chasing him, and they're all mad at Abe, and he's like, well, one of us has to die, right?
Yeah.
And
this is fucked up.
This is fucked up, because they're like, well, if she dies, then we all survive, and that's great. And then everyone's like arguing with them, like, we're best friends. Yeah. How dare you freaking say that to me? And then Nina just stabs him with a pickaxe.
The pickaxe in the back. And he's like, what the fuck?
And then she's like, you better hope that she lives. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're going to be the sacrifice. And I thought, oh, they're going to definitely break up after this. Yeah. Obviously.
Megan and Max then go out with flashlights to go find her in the woods. Mm-hmm. And Nina stays with Abe, who's now bleeding on the ground.
Not dying, just slowly dying.
Awful.
Yeah. Pretty bad. Bad girlfriend material. Mm-hmm. So it
gets worse too. I was like,
yeah. So Max and Megan are going through the woods. They run into a wendigo. They're by a tree and they get
They have
slopped on.
flashlights. This is the thing that I told you in the theater,
Yeah.
which I'm a bad theater goer, because I was like, they have flashlights and they hear something, so they hide behind a tree, but he's still using the flashlight.
But aren't the wendigos blind?
They don't know that.
Oh, maybe they just know wendigo. They don't know wendigos are there yet.
Also, we have Clover in the woods steps on a bear trap.
Oh, yeah. She steps on a bear trap, and then the bear trap gets pulled into this cave where you hear snarling, and you don't really know what happened to her.
Yeah.
So we just kind of assume she's dead. But Max and Megan are being chased by a wendigo, and all of a sudden Megan lands on this, like, glass panel.
Yeah, which is the roof. It would have been the roof of a house.
Yeah, in the middle of the
And, of course, it
woods.
starts to crack.
So she's like, grab my hand, so that way if it cracks, she can, like, pull her up.
I'm like, roll, girl. Like,
Yeah.
if you rolled, it would have been better.
But the wendigo grabs her, and, like...
So Max grabs her hand, the wendigo grabs her ankle.
And then they fall through, obviously, because she moved too fast. And so it's her and the wendigo. And then Max leaves her to die.
Yeah, because the wendigo pulls her into the other room. She looks unconscious, but she's probably not dead.
So...
Bad friend.
Bad friend. They talk about this friend shit all the time, but are they really friends?
No.
They're like
He's
bad
there for
friends.
Clover.
They're all bad friends. So he goes after Clover, and Clover we see like army crawling
She's
out
like,
of the
I'm
cave.
surviving this.
Like she fought the thing in there. And then a Max comes across and helps her like pull out the bear trap.
And after it slams again on her foot, he's like, sorry.
Messed up the quick time event.
He did. This is where we get more and more QuickTime events too.
Yeah,
like
this
at the
is a
beginning,
QuickTime
it wasn't like that, but we start.
This
getting
is
it
definitely
more
more like the game at this point.
Yeah.
But then what comes out of the cave is the Wendigo version of her sister.
But so I like this is where we just because she's got weird teeth. I feel like she's a different creature.
Like what though?
I have no idea.
These are all about Wendigos.
She's got like
she's
baleen
a
whale
fresh
teeth.
Wendigo, fresh Wendigo. She still has her hair.
Yeah.
So
and her outfit looks just a little dirty, but it's been
a
a year.
It's been a year.
Like,
what happens? Not a lot of action in the year, I guess.
What happens? Yeah, because she was the last name on there before them, so
Yeah.
no one else has been there for a year.
So
not very good scientific data for.
I don't know what
Dr.
that guy's doing.
So Max takes the bear trap and puts it on her face.
And then they
The
run
sister,
off.
not
Yeah, the
Clover.
sister, obviously. But he's now more down to kill Clover when she asks.
Yeah, so
because
they end
go
up
and hide
in the mine, and she asks, she's like, "Where's Melanie?" Not Melanie. Melody's sister.
Megan.
Where's Megan? And he's like, "Oh,
dead.
she's dead."
She's dead.
But I don't know about the Abe and Nina, which definitely Abe.
He's like, I know, he knows Abe's dead,
Yeah.
but Nina, not so sure.
And so Clover's like, "You have to kill me. We have to start over. We could only have one night left. We all have to get out of this together." And so she gives him a piece of glass, and he slits her.
Because he was so he was like, we could survive.
Yeah.
The two of us could survive. It'll be
She's like,
fine.
"I'm not surviving without my friends. It's my fault.
Just so stupid.
I messed up."
You have like 2 to 3 people who are kind of more down. No, you have 2 people.
The two guys.
The 2 guys are like, fuck my friends, let's live. And the 2 women, Megan's kind of a wild card. I don't really know.
Megan's
where she
having a
stands.
rough night.
But the other 2 women are like, oh, my friends.
Yeah.
Can't live without my friends.
And so they say, we could have let's have one more night and we can all survive. And
Women care more about their friends.
Yeah.
Men care more about their romantic interests.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that kind of makes sense.
And so
he slits her throat,
dies.
and then he drinks the water because the sister comes over.
Yeah.
And he drinks the water and then walks up to her and yells, fuck you, and then explodes.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know. To me, I was like, how does he know the timing?
Yeah.
He doesn't know the timing.
Because it was just 2 drops. So, again, we don't know.
I don't know. It's
no
weird.
loopholes.
The exploding water was a strange choice.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work, but whatever, it's supernatural.
Mm-hmm. Then we get this weird, like, cutscene.
It's between her and her sister.
Yeah. So she goes to get the necklace. She's like, "Melanie, hold on." She gets the necklace that she's been wearing, and she's like, it was Mom's. Don't you want it?" And the sister's like, "No, I'm leaving. I can't
You
stay
can keep
here.
it.
I don't want to be a loser like you."
Wow.
She doesn't say that, but he implies it.
She's going to school in New York.
Yeah.
And she's like, I asked you if you want to come to New York with me, and you said no, so it's your choice.
Yeah. She's like, "I can't stay here anymore." And then she's like, "Melanie, no, wait." And then she's looking, we go back to present time, I guess, and she's looking at the sign-in book.
They all
No,
like
she's not
woke
looking
up.
at the sign. Oh, she's on the
woke up from a
couch.
nap, yeah.
He's like, I had to pull you in. We thought you were dead. And then Abe's like, is there something on my back?
Yeah.
And he's definitely got holes in his back.
He's getting the wendigo spine. But they're like, no, you look great.
No, you're fine. It's because it's also right where that lady stabbed him with the pickaxe.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, how many nights has it been? And they're like, 5, 6. And then Nina's like 13 because she's the one that signs her name every time.
Nobody has gone past 13.
Yeah.
So this is the final night. And they're all like, well, we don't know what to do. Like, we don't really remember anything.
And then they're also like, hey, where's Megan?
Lost Megan.
She's not there. Which, oh, crap. Because they're like, what? Did she, like... And then Abe's like, maybe it takes us... Because he's like, you said we either survive the night or we become it. So maybe it happens at different times for us because no one's gone past that. So maybe, you know, we don't have the same expiration date.
Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of a weird theory.
But then the best part of this freaking movie is he takes out his phone.
Wait, I've been filming at random times. So then he goes through like a cycle because we've missed, I think, what we were on 4 nights?
That was night 4. So we're on 13.
We're on 13. We've missed quite a few nights. So they just go through like a montage of them dying. My favorite was they were in a random hallway, and then they were like, wait, what's that? And then like a creepy giant puppet
mask that then goes high above. And
and then like walks in. That's funny.
There's the bug in her face, which I could not watch.
And it goes into her eyeball.
Yeah.
I like how he was filming during that moment. Mm-hmm. She's like, hey, can you get the bug out of my face? And he's like, yeah, let me my camera.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that should have been more of the movie. Like every night should have been like a camera recording. I liked that part of it.
So I did, yeah. There's a lot. One of them, they were all like passed out on the floor, and Dr. Hill went to check, but somebody
it's the last one, Megan.
Somebody picked up his phone, and it was Megan, because Dr. Hill left and went through the door to
the front door of the house.
Yeah, where
downstairs.
Like the Wendigo hallway is. And she's like, I'm gonna go after him. This is my final recording.
And then she
drops the phone.
So this is the question that, because it's like, are they passed out or are they dead? Because if they look dead, right?
Well, he like kicks them and picks up their hair, but like they're in the same position that they were when they woke up, which made me feel like they're just passed out.
But also that means they don't start, because he said we had to drag you in here. They don't start because that was the thing.
Well, because maybe she was out in the rain.
Yeah, and he's like, we had to pull you in, but then they were all in the room. Unless that was the front room.
I don't know. But we know Megan's gone, and they're pretty sure that she went after Dr. Hill in his hallway over there. So they look outside, and they see like a bunch more gravestones, and the whole gang's here.
So it's like the siren sound, like tornado siren.
Oh, that was also one of the recordings. Because
her eyes were bleeding. She's like, what's happening?
What's that noise? And then she turns around, her eyes are bleeding. It's like every horror trope ever, and it's very funny.
So the sirens go off again. They look out and they see all of the things that tried to kill them before.
No, you got the big clown
They're in
guy.
a line. The grandma.
You got the squads here.
Yeah.
Play your gang music as they slow-mo walk
and
up
so
to the
they're like not that far from the house, and the Clover's like, I'm ending this. I'm going in there. And so she takes the large pickaxe off the wall and the flashlight, and then she goes to the door, and the other people are just like standing there.
Like, you're just gonna leave us here with the
people
guys.
Outside definitely have gotten to the door at this point.
They're just waiting.
Hello.
Knock knock. Hey, is it our time? You guys want a little more time?
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm gonna go take care of this myself. It's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for my sister. I dragged you into this.
I'm gonna go save Megan.
It's really Nina's fault for writing in the book, but whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that.
For sure.
And she's like, I'm gonna go save it. And then they were like, not without us. We do everything together.
After she already opened the door, and then they're all behind her with their little
with their
knives.
Flashlights and their tiny hammers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, obviously they're gonna follow you because they have to go fight all these other fuckers if they don't.
I'm not staying behind, no. And also, close the door.
Yeah, I know, they left the door open.
They left the door open.
Now they all know where they're going.
Yeah. So they go into this really long hallway, And they have to open up a window to crawl through it. There's a couple jump scares at this part, which definitely got me.
they see like a wendigo and they're like, everyone stand still. It'll sense your movement. But then like one finds them and jumps and scares them, and then they gotta run. And then eventually the clown guy shows up.
So they end up in the room where Megan fell through the glass. And so they look up, and it's the clown guy, because they hear the crack, and the clown guy is on the glass, and so he falls down, and it separates the three of them in the room with Clover by the door. This looks
like the shit that I think I remember seeing on Until Dawn, Underground. Kind of looks the same. Yeah. But he falls through the glass.
And they're like, you go get Megan, and we'll take care of him, and they're throwing things at him, so it distracts him, and so she runs off. Mm-hmm. And they just basically one by one they
throw stuff at him and they run around until eventually they hit him with enough stuff that he falls over because it works this time.
All three of them have to pick up his pickaxe,
sledgehammer,
and
they sledgehammer him in the head till he dies, which is only one hit, but still. Moving on to Clover, who
and then they hear the Wendigos coming after them, and they're like, oh shit. So she's running through all these things. She sees the stairs that go up to where the sanitarium
is, I think, and she almost falls onto a pike, I was like, oh, she passed her quick time.
Because she steps on this rubble and then trips. Falls a big distance. But past her quick time event.
Yeah. So then before going up the steps, it's the final boss. It's her sister. Mm-hmm. Her sister managed to make it for a showing. Yeah. Get out of her cave. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to appeal to her sister's Wendigo.
Clover, your sister, just does not care.
Does not care or know. So she's like, okay, I'll use the pike to my advantage, and pushes her. Basically falls with her onto the pike because she also gets stabbed.
She gets stabbed a little bit.
But she's like, I love you, sis. And then she runs back up as her sister's corpse is dead. Yep. Do you think her sister resets too?
It has to.
They all reset, right? Yeah. So,
because the old lady definitely got turned into...
Yeah, and she was there.
Dust in the wind.
So then she goes up to the office space where she sees all the computers and them being monitored. And
well, it's before that. Oh, that's right. Megan. She's going into all these different... Oh, no, because the stoplight one was really cool, too. That was definitely one of the breathing things that you have to go through in these games.
Because it was like a hospital, because we're in the sanitarium, so we see a bunch of hospital rooms.
But then there's a street light there, so that was weird, because that definitely should not have been in that room, because it blinks a red light, and she's got her flashlight, and she gets a little further in the room, then she hears something, so she hides and covers the flashlight, and it's a light that you see. So the light goes off and you see the Wendigo.
Oh yeah.
And then it goes off, and then it comes back on again. The Wendigo's closer, and then it goes off again, and then it goes on again. The Wendigo's right next to her, and she's just like, ah! And then it goes off again. It goes a little bit further away, and then further away.
Yeah.
And then she's ready to go, and she looks up, and there's looked like the clown guy, but
it's just a dead
body.
Dead body. But then she runs into Megan, who's tied to a chair.
She's in one of the observatory rooms,
and like a Wendigo is tied up with like a chain against the wall, and it can't reach her yet. But if it breaks, then it's gonna eat Megan.
And the door's locked. She's like, I'm gonna go find a key.
I'm gonna get a key. Be right back.
And then she gets into the administrative office, and she sees the cameras that have been watching them, and she forgets about the key.
I thought the key was on the desk, because when Dr. Hill walks in and he's like, well, what do we have here? You're my favorite patient. And then he puts his coffee down, and next to the coffee was this like weird triangle. I thought that was the key.
He locked the door and put the key on the desk. But before that, when she's looking at the desk, she sees a clipboard with her file on it, and her then next to her is Rami Malek's character's file, because it's got his picture on it from Until Dawn. What was the third one on there?
I don't know who the third one was. It might be maybe a guy from The Quarry or something. Yeah. It kind of looked like one of the big guy from The Quarry, but I don't know. I only saw Rami Malek, and I was like, hey.
You can't read it. It'd be one thing to pause to read it, because it goes by so fast. But Dr. Hill's there, and he's got his cup of coffee, and he's talking to her about this is, your manifestations.
All of these monsters are manifestations.
And he knows that she tried to kill herself twice, and
he throws some like bullshit out there, like your anxiety is the giant monster, and
he's like, but the spontaneous combustion, it's not a combustion, but
spontaneous combustion is you self-sabotaging yourself. And she's like, what?
He's like, all of these monsters are coming from you,
and they're like, that's not true. There's no Silent Hill stuff. What is this?
So there's next to the coffee cup, there's a letter opener, which I thought she was going to grab, but also you see that it's dripping. So as she's talking to him, she slowly moves his coffee cup to the water so that he gets a little
bit of that combustion water. And then
she moves it back.
Moves it back so he doesn't know.
So the whole time she's just waiting for him to drink it. He's like, well, someone has to die.
And she's like, well, because he does drink it.
Give him the bubble gut.
And then he does explode. And she grabs the keys off of his exploded corpse.
Well, and because also while we're waiting for someone to die, Abe gets stuck in the wall as the wendigos are coming, and he's like, help me! So they have to pull him out. And then once Dr. Hill explodes, because also then you see Megan and the guy is pulling it off the wall, and he's getting closer and closer. And so that's the whole thing. Well, someone has to die. And as soon as he dies, Abe falls out and the rocks fall. Although they're still getting chased later on.
Yeah.
She goes to get Megan, and they close the door just in time. And then so both A team and B team are running to get outside. One sees a stairway. The Megan and Clover, they're getting chased now.
Yeah, they're getting chased.
And they have to go up this ladder, and they're so slow.
Yeah, they have to go up this ladder.
Like, they definitely would have gotten
But the ladder goes up to the grave they saw by the welcoming center.
She's also now like dragging like her sister did. And Megan's behind her, and Megan gets pulled, and she pulls back. Because her hand sticks out, but then she gets pulled back because Megan gets pulled back. Yeah. And then they make it out.
They get pulled up by the A team.
By B team? Max and
because they already made it out. And then they all lay on the ground like, whoo, look at the sun. It's dawn time.
As you see, the hourglass also was ended. Time was up. So that is the end of that, and then you hear a honk because Abe is already in the car.
Let's go!
He's like, car's running.
Can't blame him. Let's go.
Do you want to stay another night here? And so they get in the car and they leave.
The whole squad makes it.
Yep. You have survived the night.
And then they do I like the ending credits where they did the missing board was the people who worked on the movie. Yeah. But they picked a really weird teeny bopper song for it. And then they moved to the normal credits and they play a really dark, sad song. And I felt like that should have been switched.
But before you get to the credits, the ending scene, which probably would have been
at the end,
during the credits or at the end, is you see the picture, the cameras monitors that he had, and they switch over to a different viewpoint. And it is a cabin in the woods.
It looks like the cabin from the quarry. Yeah.
Although it's smaller, it's like a one-person cabin versus.
I don't know. It looked pretty big. They had a lounge in the middle. Yeah.
And then you hear Dr. Hill whistling again. So he apparently
he reset.
Yeah. He's living his life. So maybe a sequel.
Maybe we'll see how well this movie does.
But
it's pretty good. It's
I laughed. It was gross and gory, and there was some fun dialogue.
Horror movie. It's not Until Dawn, but it is heavily inspired by Until Dawn.
Some Easter eggs in there.
So. Until Dawn light, I'd say. I'd recommend watching it if you like those types of games.
Or horror movies.
But if you're, I don't know, maybe if you're a diehard Until Dawn, you're like, it's different though. Just know it's not that. It's a horror movie that's heavily inspired by it. It's not the same thing.
It's not.
Just go into it being like, this is going to be a fun horror movie that kind of reminds me of that game I played one time.
Yeah. True that.
All right, well, we'll see you next time.